Humanity had always been considered something of an oddity. Earth, a tiny blue marble in the cosmic sea, was home to a species that seemed unremarkable at first glance. But as the old saying goes, appearances can be deceiving. When Earth finally joined the Galactic Federation in 2157, many alien races regarded humans with a mixture of curiosity and dismissal. Sure, they had achieved faster than light travel and colonized a few nearby star systems, but what else could they offer to a galaxy teeming with ancient civilizations and incredible technological marvels? The answer, as it turned out, was sports. Jake Thompson, a former Olympic decathlete from New Zealand, stood at the center of the massive arena on Centauri Prime. The roar of the crowd, a cacophony of alien voices and human cheers, washed over him like a tidal wave. He took a deep breath, savoring the moment. "Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all designations," the announcer's voice boomed across the stadium, "welcome to the 10th Annual Galactic Games." Jake couldn't help but smile. A decade ago, when humanity first proposed the idea of an intergalactic sporting event, they had been met with skepticism and even ridicule. Now, the Galactic Games were the most watched event across thousands of light years. As Jake prepared for his first event, he caught sight of his teammate and best friend, Rajesh Patel, giving him a thumbs up from the sidelines. Rajesh, a brilliant strategist and former cricket player from Mumbai, had been instrumental in adapting Earth sports for alien physiologies and creating new hybrid games that captured the imagination of the galaxy. The first event was the Quantum Leap, a high jump competition with a twist. Contestants had to phase through quantum fluctuations at the apex of their jump. Jake had spent months training with Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading expert in quantum mechanics, to perfect his technique. As Jake approached the starting line, he noticed his alien competitors. There was Zex Thor, the amorphous blob from Epsilon Eridani, whose body could stretch to incredible lengths; Kral Gax, the six-limbed warrior from Betelgeuse, whose dense musculature allowed for explosive power; and Neelix, the feather-light avian from Procyon, whose hollow bones made him practically weightless. On paper, Jake shouldn't have stood a chance. But if there was one thing humans had learned over millennia of athletic competition, it was that the mind was as crucial as the body. The signal was given, and Jake burst into motion. He sprinted towards the quantum field, each step perfectly measured. As he neared the jump point, he could feel the strange tingling of the quantum fluctuations ahead. With a final burst of speed, he leapt. Time seemed to slow as Jake soared through the air. At the peak of his jump, he focused his mind, visualizing the quantum states Dr. Rodriguez had drilled into him. For a moment, his body seemed to blur, existing in multiple states at once. Then, with a flash of light, he phased through the quantum barrier and landed gracefully on the other side. The crowd erupted in cheers as the scoreboard flashed his results. Jake had not only cleared the jump but had set a new galactic record. As the competition progressed, it became clear that while individual alien species might excel in specific events, humans consistently performed well across the board. Their adaptability and well-rounded physiques allowed them to compete at a high level in everything from tests of strength to endurance races to precision targeting. But it wasn't just physical prowess that set humans apart. Their mental fortitude and strategic thinking gave them an edge in team sports and complex multi-stage events. In the cosmic chess boxing match, a hybrid sport that combined physical combat with real-time strategy, Rajesh Patel faced off against Grandmaster XRLK from the silicon-based life forms of Aldebaran. The match was a grueling test of both body and mind, requiring participants to alternate between rounds of boxing and making moves on a holographic chessboard. Rajesh, bleeding from a cut above his eye and nursing what felt like a cracked rib, stared at the chessboard. He was down on points from the boxing rounds, but he had maneuvered XRLK into a precarious position on the board. With one carefully planned sequence, he could force a checkmate and win the match. As he contemplated his move, Rajesh recalled the words of his old coach: "Back on Earth, the body can achieve what the mind believes." With renewed determination, he made his decision. 3 moves later, the stadium erupted as Rajesh's strategy paid off. XRL's king was trapped, and the match was over. Humans had claimed another victory. As the Galactic Games progressed, a pattern began to emerge. While aliens often dominated specific events tailored to their unique physiologies, humans consistently placed in the top rankings across all categories. It was this versatility, combined with their unwavering determination, that allowed Earth to accumulate the most medals overall. The final event of the Games was the Marathon of Worlds, a grueling race that spanned multiple planets in the Centauri system. Contestants had to navigate varying gravities, atmospheric conditions, and terrain types, all while managing their resources and making split-second decisions. Earth's hope rested on the shoulders of Carlos Mendoza, an ultra-marathon runner from Argentina. Carlos had spent years training in the harshest environments Earth had to offer, from the peaks of the Andes to the depths of the Mariana Trench. As Carlos stood at the starting line on Alpha Centauri's largest moon, he felt the weight of expectation from his teammates and the billions watching back on Earth. The race would push him to his absolute limits, but he was ready. The starting gun fired, and the racers were off. For the next week, Carlos pushed his body and mind to extremes he had never before experienced. He ran across the methane ice fields of a gas giant's moon, swam through the dense atmosphere of a Venus-like planet, and scaled cliffs in crushing gravity. Throughout it all, Carlos never lost sight of his goal. When his muscles screamed for rest, he pushed harder. When his lungs burned from alien atmospheres, he regulated his breathing and pressed on. And when the harsh conditions of a desert world left him delirious with thirst, he drew upon his mental training to maintain focus. In the final stretch, as Carlos emerged from the swamps of the last planet, he found himself neck and neck with Zor-Lak, a centaur-like being from Sirius known for its incredible stamina. With the finish line in sight, both competitors gave their all in a final sprint. Carlos dug deep, recalling every moment of training, every sacrifice made, every lesson learned. With a surge of adrenaline, he pushed past his alien rival, crossing the finish line mere seconds ahead. As Carlos collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath, he was mobbed by his fellow human athletes. They had done it. Earth had won the Galactic Games. In the days that followed, as the various alien races departed Centauri Prime, there was much discussion about the surprising dominance of these newcomers to the galactic stage. How had a species from a single, unremarkable planet managed to outperform civilizations that had been crossing the stars for millennia? The answer, many concluded, lay in humanity's unique history. Unlike many alien races that had evolved in relative isolation, humans had spent thousands of years competing against each other. This intraspecies competition had driven them to constantly push the boundaries of physical and mental performance. Moreover, the sheer diversity of Earth's environments had produced a species capable of adapting to almost any condition. From the frozen tundra to scorching deserts, from mountain peaks to ocean depths, humans had found ways to not just survive, but thrive. But perhaps most importantly, it was the human spirit, that intangible quality that drove them to reach for the stars, even when logic said it was impossible, that truly set them apart. As Jake, Rajesh, Carlos, and the rest of the Earth team prepared to return home, they knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, and the future was bright with possibilities. Back on Earth, in schools and sports clubs across the planet, a new generation of athletes was already beginning to dream. They looked up at the stars and saw not distant, unreachable points of light, but future fields of competition and glory. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It was not a mistake they would make again. For in the vast cosmic arena, Earth had found its place not through conquest or technological superiority, but through the simple, profound power of sports to unite, inspire, and showcase the very best of what it means to be human. As their starship broke orbit, carrying Earth's champions home, Jake Thompson looked out at the star-studded expanse before them. He thought about the journey that had brought them here and the challenges that lay ahead. With a smile, he turned to his teammates and said, "Well, folks, I think we've got some training to do. The 11th Galactic Games are only 4 years away, and you can bet the rest of the galaxy will be gunning for us." Rajesh grinned, already formulating new strategies in his mind. "Bring it on," he said. "We'll be ready." And as Earth grew larger in their view screen, they all knew that truer words had never been spoken. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and they were here to stay.